Welcome to Growth Hack by Poppy Digital. Tips and tricks to master the algorithms from industry insiders. Now here's your host, Julian Espinoza.
Welcome back to Growth Hack, where we break down marketing channels like Google, Facebook, Instagram, and show them how to make them work for you. Influencer marketing is one of the most played out tactics in digital. Influencers posting with a picture of a product is what we usually think when it comes to influencer marketing. Users can see it coming a mile away. It feels so forced and unnatural. So does that mean influencer marketing doesn't work? The short answer is yes, it does, but it now requires creativity to make it work. On this episode of Growth Hack, we bring on Taylor Lagace to talk about creating authentic relationships with creators that lead to conversions. Taylor is the CEO and the co-founder of Kynship, an influencer marketing agency. Taylor has established himself as a thought leader in the influencer marketing space. Taylor started his career in influencer marketing working at Athletes First, an NFL agency where he was responsible for marketing on behalf of NFL stars such as Aaron Rodgers, Clay Matthews, and Deshaun Watson. With his past, Taylor has been able to help companies go from nothing to millions in revenue in just a few short months. Welcome, Taylor.
Thanks for having me on, Julian. How are we doing today?
Oh, it's a great day, and I'm excited to talk influencers. We've talked about influencers on this podcast before, but we're going to dive into something that I think is really unique on how you're approaching influencers and content creators. So the first question that I have for you is, what is the current model to work with influencers slash content creators?
Current model would be the pay-for-post model. When people typically think about influencer marketing, I assume a lot of minds go to paying Kim Kardashian $1 million to pay some sort of thing that's hugging her buns a little tight. That is not the model we truly believe in. Hiked up prices, inflated price points, inauthentic content that ultimately does not convert. So that's the current model, and we think it's a broken one.
Well, you beat me to the punch. I was going to ask you, what do you think's wrong with it? But what you're saying is the current model is to reach out to an influencer, someone that you feel is on brand to some degree, and say, hey, we would be willing to pay you in exchange for you to either participate in our service or for us to send you a product, and then you actually post. And that's, what did you call that? What is that called?
A broken model, but it's a pay-for-post model, transactional, it's disingenuous, inauthentic. People are not stupid. They can see it's BS, this was paid for, they're not buying it.
Okay, so it's called a pay-for-post model, aka the broken model.
Yeah, exactly right.
So obviously you have some strong feelings that that model is inauthentic and it doesn't work. I'm going to agree with you that it's definitely inauthentic. I think at the start of the internet, right, and the start of social media, I think something had to happen and something had to give, right? And so this idea of paying people to promote things started, right? It was a thing. Then it became commoditized, right? And then it really became this commodity. And I think to your point, it's gotten a little bit out of hand, right? It's like, you know, if you're listening to this, right, or if you're watching this, I'm holding up a little Yeti coaster that keeps your beer cold, right? And so you traditionally would have this little product, you hold it, and then the influencers would say, I love my new Yeti coaster. It keeps my beer cold, right? And it's very inauthentic. It doesn't feel real, right? So I totally agree with you. So let's talk and let's get straight into it. You've got a better way of doing it. What does that look like?
Yeah, we call it influencer seeding. At its core, all we mean by that is we are putting product in the hands of influencers that we think are great brand fits, that we think will ultimately drive sales for the brand. But we're giving it to them, not like a traditional PR agency where we're giving product and put it in the hands of influencers in exchange for anything. It's incredibly non-transactional. We are giving it to them, no strings attached. So we're literally communicating, hey, Julian, think you're a great brand fit. Absolutely love the content you consistently put out. We think you'd love our product and we want to send it to you. Can't emphasize this enough. No strings attached. And what we mean by that is we have no expectation of you to post whatsoever. Send me your address. We'll get this right out to you. Obviously, we do have expectations and would love to chat through that with you as well.
So the model right now is instead of reaching out to an influencer coming up with some sort of arrangement, if you will, right? And an arrangement of money exchange and amount of posts, you just virtually send it to them for free with no expectations. You say, hey, look, no strings attached. We're sending this product to you. We would love to know if you love it. Something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, verbatim, I gave you the kind of the outreach that we use, but that's 100% like the philosophy there. Because what you're going to get out of that, I mean, the pay for post model, right? These are people that have never even used your product before, and they're only posting because you incentivize them to do so by, hey, we'll give you this product if you post, or we'll pay you and give you this product to post. It's incredibly disingenuous, and they aren't even genuine product adopters. And again, people can see right through that.
Now, let's talk about, because I'm a man of proof is in the pudding. How's this working?
I appreciate that. Yeah, just to give you numbers, like our team typically, and I challenge everyone listening, try this out yourself. This isn't like some self-promoted pitch here, but this is what we do. We identify and reach out to 500. Out of that amount, you can expect 20% to opt in to receive your product. 20%. So 100 out of 500, 20%. Out of the 100 that receive product, even though it's no strings attached, we see a minimum of 30 influencers. 30% of them post on average 2 to 3 times each. 30 influencers, 60 to 90 posts in total. We get usage rights to it. Now we get all that content to repurpose in our own channels as well. So you get the organic distribution at mass scale and content creation pipeline to supplement your paid media efforts, where there can even be more amplification and scale.
How many people do you reach out to on a monthly basis, give or take?
500 influencers per brand.
Okay, 500 influencers per brand get a cold outreach message that we talked about just previously a second ago. Okay, how many of those actually reply?
Reply, 100 to 200, 100 to 250. Opt in to receive product. Yes, hey, I would love it. A minimum of 100.
Okay, so on 500, wow, that's actually, that's pretty good. That's what, the 20%? 20% of the people that you've outreached to actually respond to this message and say, hey, I want to opt in to receive your product for free. What happens next, Taylor?
Yeah, then I would recommend dialing an unboxing experience. You want to make it special. You want to lend a greater impression. Ultimately, it leads to just greater and higher post rates as well when you send it out. And then once they receive the product,
what does that look like? Like a little postcard, like a little like with a signature, like, hey, Taylor, we really appreciate you. We love your fitness content, like something personalized like that? Or are you just saying overall make it look a little bit more interesting and intriguing and special?
Yeah, so we use a preferred partner called Packlane there for this unboxing experience. It just makes it more aesthetically pleasing. It's beautiful. It's not like your yellow standard package, bland. Again, you're creating a more postable experience and a more special experience that makes them feel like you're doing something above and beyond for them.
What's the name of it?
Packlane.
What happens? Do they send you some stuff? Do we send them the product? How does Packlane work?
Yeah, so the brand, when we're working with brands, ourselves, the brand, and Packlane all work together to create this unboxing experience that represents the brand well, that can ultimately, allow the influencer to feel special, and like this is a unique thing. And then from there, it sends it to the fulfillment center of the brand, and then we pack up those unboxing experiences and get them out to each of the 100 influencers that opt in to receive product.
And Taylor, I think it was important to highlight that you're not just sending a regular package in a brown box, in a Ziploc bag. You're sending a really nice experience. So when the influencer receives it, they sort of treat this as something special. Is that right?
Exactly right. Head of the nail right there. You nailed it.
So now 100 influencers just got our really nice packaging, our great product that we believe is wonderful. What are the numbers after that?
So a minimum of 30%. So in this hypothetical, 30 influencers post 2 to 3 posts each on average. So that's where you get 30 influencers posting 60 to 90 times in total. So that's the mass organic distribution that comes from this.
Now, you said a minimum, right? and based on what I've heard so far in the strategy, you're not making guarantees, but you're saying on average, this is what people do. And what kind of proof do you have that this at scale has worked on average across any industry and across sectors.
Yeah, I mean, and the 30 influencers posted 69 assets, this is the minimums that we see. Again, like you said, we can't guarantee it because it would negate the entire philosophy, right? Of no strings attached. We don't have any expectation. The minute we make someone post, hey, this is a gimmick. It's not real. So how it works, I mean, we've come alongside brands like M&M's in this, in which obviously that's a big household name brand, but this strategy lended itself to increasing their Father's Day campaign by 547%, and they were able to win an award, best use of new platform on TikTok, because of these efforts. Now, all the way down to scaling a brand from 0 to 1 million that just got off the ground through this approach. I mean, it's for every stage of every business. If you care about influencer marketing as an acquisition channel, this is the way to do it, to build the foundations and lay it out, to get the most creative, to get the most organic distribution at the best cost-effective rate.
I don't want to bother everyone with a bunch of numbers because we already did talk about a bunch of numbers, but that's very impressive. Like, I mean, you're sending this out to 100 people, and of those 100 people, about 30, and you say a minimum, so you're probably using conservative numbers, has responded. What have you seen on the higher end? Like, how many people actually, like, when they really like the product, they were all about it, how many people actually engaged with it?
We typically don't see more than 50% of the influencers. So, but we've seen 250 influencers post well above 500 assets. There has been a brand that fell under the 30 influencers, 60 to 90 assets, but it makes sense as to why. Like, if you're listening, and I want to give the worst case scenario, we seeded out this shirt that was supposedly to make men look skinnier while they work out. No man is posting about that of their own free will, free of cost. Like, it's just not the most flattering thing to show off to their audience at the end of the day. So that is a loss that fell under those minimums that we project, but we've seen plenty of times, 100 to 200 plus influencers post over 500 assets.
That's absolutely incredible. And again, I don't want our audience to get stuck on these numbers here, but I think there's an interesting byproduct to consider as well. It's actually not a byproduct, it's just a circumstance. So a lot of people may be saying, okay, I am convinced here, Julian, Taylor, you've done a good job of convincing me, okay, that this is the more authentic, this is the better use of my influencer strategy. So we've done that. But some people might say, well, my product might be not cheap, might be expensive. So I think we ran some numbers prior to the show, and you guys can run these numbers later to see that we're